All right. So you're welcome. Just let's get to know you. Introduce
Okay.
yourself, your name, what you do, where you are, and where you're from.
Okay, cool. So my name is Abena Belovedgreen Tuffour. That's Belovedgreen is kind of a moniker. So that's what I publish my creative work under, Abena Belovedgreen. I am currently in Tema, Ghana. I've been here since February, which is wild. I think this is the longest I've been here, aside from the year I went to school here. But it hasn't been the time I expected, obviously, because COVID threw everything off for everyone. So my name, where I am, where I'm from. Okay, so I was born and raised in Canada, I was not born in Nova Scotia. I was born in Alberta, Canada, in Edmonton, but I was raised in Nova Scotia. So I consider Nova Scotia home, largely, although I've found myself at home in a lot of places. So yeah, Antigonish, Nova Scotia is where I was raised. And Ghana is starting to become a home, like it's my home of origin, I guess you could say. And then other places that I've loved are Ottawa and Kingston, both in Ontario, and also Rwanda. I spent some time there, and I loved there as well.
So definitely, it shows that you love movement.
Yeah, I did.
You did,
Yeah.
or you still love movement, or you're transitioning into staying, keeping still.
I'm ready to stay still, I think. And for me, that means like having two places, but I'm ready to be a bit
Okay.
more rooted than I have been in the past. So yeah, I've been kind of longing for a place to call home for the last couple of years. But I have enjoyed, while I was younger, just getting out and seeing places. Like I did like that, traveling for work or to visit family. But yeah, I'm ready to just like have a home.
So being still, being in two places, where are you looking at in terms of just location?
Geographically,
Yeah.
I would like to spend more time in Ghana. At this point in my life, I'd like to make certain investments just of time and like bringing myself here, my energy, my presence. So I would like to, so this would be one. And then also in, um, right now, my Kingston, Ontario is
Okay.
like my newfound favorite little nook.
Okay. Besides just the origin being from Ghana, what do you think draws you to Ghana?
Hmm. That's a good question, because it's always been consciously tied to the fact that this is where my family is. Uh, so I'm going to think about this as I speak. In addition to that, I do think that Ghana's definitely got a lot of potential and a lot that's already existing in terms of culture, in terms of the land, and in terms of the minds and the energy that's here.
Hmm, I see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you think that it's possible um, to have a life filled with a lot of movement and suddenly just stay still? Because because for me, I love movement. I feel like when you look at the structure of the body, right? They say we are more than 70% liquid, right? So we are constantly moving. Even when we sleep, we're constantly moving. The movement, I always look at movement from a metaphorical, I always look at movement from a spiritual, a mental, psychological, before physical, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's one of the essence that's one of our human essence, right?
Mm.
So even with the way you just said, like staying still, you still have two continents in your head. So so
I'm
are
working
you
on it. I'm
are
working on
you
it.
yeah, are you even really staying still? Because right now you do not have two homes, right?
Mhm.
And you're moving. So imagine when you now have two homes like situated, right? And for you to have a home, it means you create certain activities around a particular location, consistently, then it becomes home. Like I'm just looking at home as a physical reference, right? So, or then when you look at it from an emotional, psychological, you're building friendship, you're building a community, and to do all of that in two continents, that's like another level of movement that most people are not even privileged to have, So
Yeah.
just like just I don't know what you think about that.
You're right. I think it is a privilege to even like have that as an option or as an idea. And honestly, I would love to narrow that just down to being in one place. And I think the time will
Seriously.
come where, yeah, where I'll feel. I mean, I'll always, if I am in Canada, I'll always still come here. So it might not be me living, but I'll always come because of the family connection, and now possibly because of work too. And that reminds me, I never said what I do, but we'll come back to that. um, yeah, I would like right now, that sounds like the most romantic idea to me, is just to like have a home, one place where I have community and have friends and I have a backyard garden. So I would like to go deep and not wide. So
I
I'm moving towards that space.
I say, so now that you spoke about romance, my question now would be, do you think movement has been from a love perspective, an experience perspective, or a romantic perspective for you?
Come in. That might be the kid. Okay, Moochie, I'm talking to somebody, okay? See. This is your order pizza. Oh, thank you. Give it to me and go. Okay. I just got a pizza delivery from my daughter. Thank you, Mama. Okay, love you. I'm just gonna put it right here, okay?
That's beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, as I told you, that would be happening. So are you asking why I've been moving?
No,
Basically.
I'm saying, do you think movement for you is one of those things, or what is movement to you?
Geographic moving has been because of a lot of it in the early days was for, well, visiting family. And then as I got older, for work. So I did a couple work placements and internships that had me travel internationally, several of them actually. And then within Canada, it's been work-wise. And then, yeah, and the last one was to follow my partner to where he was posted for the military. So yeah, it's been different things at different times.
So kind of
But
like,
I think the idea has been a romantic idea, because as I've kind of reflected on myself, I think I've always been looking for the ideal place. So I found that I've always been like, oh man, if only I lived here, then life would be like this. So I'd always have my eye on the next location. And so what's been interesting is that now with COVID, this is the first time in a long time that I've been like, I've had to be still, and that I've been okay. Like I haven't necessarily been romanticizing the next place. I've just been like, yeah, that would be cool. I started some things and relationships there, but right now I'm here and I'm okay. Like it's a strange thing. I'm like, you're okay here. Like you're actually fine. So I'm trying to romanticize where I am right now.
yeah, some people have a problem with romanticizing places or whatever, and I feel like you must fall in love. There must be romance. There must be even still reality. All of these components, I feel like, will create the best relationship. Um, So do you think still a movement, still a movement? I'm someone who moves a lot, and
Okay.
don't worry, in on different scale. Still a movement. Do you think being a mother is the reason for your refocusing on stability, being
Mhm.
still, finding a spot to just anchor?
Mm. I think that's part of it. It's part of it because it's important. Uh, but I think it's still mostly for me.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think parents should always try to make decisions for themselves. You know, so
Yeah.
it's really good to hear that it's also for you. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, it's me just because she's always part of what I want. Well, not always. Since she came along, she's part of what I want too. So it blends, but I just like the idea of knowing, being in a place where I know I've known somebody for 5 years. Like I see the value in certain things.
Yeah.
I see people who have their kids on the road. Like I follow a lot of nomadic people on Instagram, and I'm like, that's really cool. And those kids don't have once they have the home is their parent and their, the place that they live. They usually have like a camper or van, so they do have some consistency. So I do think.
Hear me?
Hi. Yeah, I don't know what happened. It might be my internet. I'm not sure.
Yeah, well,
Oh.
that's fine. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you're talking about consistency.
Hmm. Yeah, I was just saying, I think some level is important for a child, but that could look differently. I think it's mostly like the presence of the person who's raising them and what they do in their life. So people do move their kids around, but for me, I would like her to have some rootedness along with me. I feel like I would thrive at this point in my life. I feel like I will thrive being rooted, and if I'm thriving, then she'll have a better experience in life too.
But, yeah, but it does mean that you do have a level of trust for yourself.
What do you mean?
Because a lot of parents fear, becoming a parent and you see the child in front of you, fear, especially those who are very conscious of what parenting is, knowing that you're completely responsible for this human, and I think that a lot of parents make decisions that are not the best
Mm.
because they fear. So they listen to a lot of people and maybe they do what others are doing. And but you are sounding like, no, I know what I'm doing and this is how I want to do it. And if it's good for me, it would be good for us. So you trust yourself and you trust the environment that you're creating for your kid. That's how it sounds.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad it sounds like that. I don't necessarily know what I'm doing, but yeah, I do feel right now just like expensive that we planted. So that's my word.
Yeah. Do you think there is a right way to parent? I don't think anybody really knows what they're doing, but at least you know the type of life you want for yourself, and maybe you know the type of life you do not want for your child. So that takes us back to your childhood, right? Hello?
It's like some of you said kind of, can you repeat
Can you hear me?
it a little bit? Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I was
You
saying,
said I know what I want.
yeah. So a lot of decisions we make as adults are very connected to our childhood, and if you trust yourself, and this could be unconscious, it could be something that you're doing unconscious, but you're trusting yourself, and you're not trying to create a different word for your child, but you are incorporating her into your world. So it means that you trust the space that you're building for yourself and your child. But that also means that you are indirectly or directly informed by your childhood. As a child or as an adult now, you have an idea of the things you do not want to repeat as an adult with your child, right?
Yeah, this is getting into some deep territory.
Well, yeah, but this is it. I feel like this is movement, right? This is actually the crust of movement. We are adults now. We've moved from, toddlers to, babies to adolescents to young adults, and now we're adults living this completely independent life. But then when you look at where we're coming from, we were so dependent, right? And there's no point in time that anyone can truly say, I taught you everything you know, right? So it's very cathartic to look back to your life and see, wow, okay, this is how I navigated space, and these are the people who created the most comfortable space or the most uncomfortable space for me, right? And I feel like as adults, it's either you are hot, you're a hot person hurting other people, or you are hot from your past and you're repairing, you're becoming better, or you're just a better person based on the decisions that the adults around you from your past made. So it's like all of those things are the reason we function the way we function as adults.
Oh man, it's freezing.
Can you hear me?
And there's a lot in what you said. Yeah, it froze, but you're back. So
Yeah.
there's a lot in what you said, and I feel like I can only partially answer. I like your
Yeah, that's fine.
There's a lot that I'm discovering when it comes to the reason for movement, but a lot of it is I'm becoming aware of how much of it is based on childhood and what you do subconsciously to emulate that, or what we do to intentionally do. So either way, we're like controlled.
Yeah. I don't know. It looks better now. It's gone again. I don't know.
I'm not. We can just keep going. I'm sitting as close to the router as possible. Like it's right
Yeah,
behind me, so I'm not sure
that's fine.
what we can do. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you were saying.
Yeah, I was saying that yes, a lot of the parenting choices are made from to subconsciously or to intentionally copy what my parents did. Like, oh yeah, they really were good at, for instance, like reading was a big thing in our house. So
Yeah.
it's a big thing now from that we read to her, that she learns how to read. And then there's other things that were not so pleasant that I probably still do just because it's natural. And
Yeah.
it's only when I have a chance to stop and look at it, I'm like, okay, I don't like that you're doing this. Like, here's another way. And then there's other things that I am aware of that I consciously do differently because I'm like, okay, I don't like how that was done for me, so I'm going to do it different. So there's different streams of it. But I was just saying that I'm grateful for all of it, but especially to be able to see see what happened or see what's happening. So I'm learning a lot being here in these last few months.
But were you conscious of that with yourself before you were a mother?
Before was, yeah, okay. I think so. I think I was conscious of a lot, not all of it, but a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
Not the whole time, probably in the last like maybe 4 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's dope. So how did you discover love?
Love.
Yeah.
My goodness. How did I discover love?
On any level,
Romantic love? Or
it
just
does
like
on any
any of
level,
the loves?
not restricted to just um, romantic relationships, like love on all scale. Like when did you discover it for yourself?
Parenting and family. I think I'll start there because that's the first love that I was fortunate to have received. And it's not, I don't even know if I discovered it, but after some time, I was able to look at it and understand that that's what it was. Like just that knowing that your mother in particular is going to do all this stuff for you to like keep you safe and healthy and alive. It's just
But
something that you know.
when did that snap for you?
I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly when it's not for me, but I'll reverse it and say, as a mother, I feel like it kicked in as soon as I had my daughter.
Ah, yeah.
So because I wasn't necessarily the type of person to be like, oh, I can't wait to be a mom. Like, some people dream of it for a long time.
Yeah.
I didn't really, but I wanted to be a mom and I assumed I would be. But once she was born, it's just like a switch turns on and you're just like, okay, like I can see why people would like flip a car or kill for their child. Like
Yeah.
something was turned on and it's just natural. And I was like, okay, I see what this is.
Yeah. When did you discover that in your choice of profession?
Ooh, when did I discover love in my choice of profession?
Yeah.
I think I discovered it several times.
Wow.
So
Okay.
I'll
I
say them. Okay, so I have and have had different professions, but what I'm thinking of when you're talking about this is being a writer and a dancer. So I'll talk about writing first. I used to write a lot without realizing that it was something I loved. Like I would just write in school as the teacher was teaching, just on the sides of my agenda. So it was something that was always there. I used to read a lot first, and then I would write. So a couple things that I remember are one, I went to uh, my first poetry spoken word event. I really loved poetry by this time, and I lived in a really small town. My sister lived in the city, so she was like, "No, Nana, come to this event in Halifax. You'll really like it." And it's by a collective called Word is Bond, and they were doing spoken word. And I was like sitting there, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, like this is poetry." And so that was one of my first experience of like loving what I heard, loving the space I was in, and just deciding like, okay, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So this was, how many years ago was this? I was still in university, so maybe like, when did I graduate? What year is it now? Over 10 years ago? Yeah, it's been a while. But that was one of my experiences of just like instant love, instant connection, and like purpose and an arrow for
Yeah.
me.
So
Um,
so just like when we met on Instagram, um, just having a few conversation, you sent me your website, right?
yeah.
And then I went through it. I was just like, you can't, I don't know if this happened consciously, but you as a poet, you as a writer, you as a dancer is very, very like in your face expressive, you know? And these poems are very expressive. Like how is your relationship with with your expression now? Has it, and you said 10 years, so has it transitioned in the last 10 years? What has movement done to you as a dancer, you as a poet, you as a writer?
Okay. Um, well, in the last 10 years, I've definitely been committed to the craft and continued to learn. So I think that has shown in the output. I've grown in terms of what I like, the people that I read. I remember when I moved to another city and they were doing slams, which is like the competitive poetry,
Poetry,
and
yeah.
that I had to elevate my delivery because they were on another level. Like they were really competing. Whereas where I had come from, people weren't competing, they were just sharing. So there's been different periods of time where I've had to step up to a challenge. And I've participated in a lot of things like events and shows and festivals, which have all added to the texture and to the experience, to my experience. In terms of, I think I've always written personal poems. I feel like they actually started more, the things that I shared started more to be about more universal topics like poverty and justice and things like that. And then there was a period, like the most recent period has been very personal. They say the personal is political anyway, right? So I started
Very.
just being like, these are the things that I think, because they had to come out, because I was not a very extroverted person. I wasn't shy, but I'm an observer. So there's a lot, and like a sensitive person, you know what I mean? So there's a lot that's in your head. And that I've gathered and accumulated over the years. So that had to come out. So that came out in my poetry. Like, this is how I felt about this relationship. And this is what I think about this. And here's my question about that. So that's what, in my first book, The Way We Hold On, you'll see kind of a life story in that. Maybe it's like an autobiography in a way. And then in my next book that's coming out I wanted to take the lens off of me. So I feature, I think, about 25 women who I've encountered over life. And so they're the focus. And then I have poems based on what they said to me, and then poems in response to what they said. So that's kind of one element of transition.
Yeah, I definitely will come back to your new book. Um, but just looking at still your form, right?
Mm-hmm.
It it's interesting. So while you were doing this as a writer and poet, were you also channeling that in your dance?
Yeah, so dance has been, I call the two my first loves, writing and dance, because my love for them, or they were always grew at the same time. I probably was even dancing before I started writing, just for fun. It was always something that I would do with my sister in the house. And like sometimes we'd perform at local talent shows. And it's always something that has been a friend to me, a source of joy, and a source of being present. So like, in a way, this is like a cliche comparison, but like it gave me a kind of high in a sense, because I wouldn't be thinking about, like when I'm writing, you're thinking about things, right? Like you're
Yeah.
thinking all these questions and thoughts and observations. But when I'm dancing, I'm just zoomed into the music and how it feels in my body and what steps I need to do from doing choreography.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's they balance each other out, and it's like a great space for all the things that aren't in words just to come out. It's a space of freedom, of joy. And I also love doing traditional dance. So I came to Ghana to learn traditional dance. So in addition to freedom and joy, it's also culture, it's also history, it's also rootedness and spirituality to me. So dance means all those things to me.
Yeah, and so pardon me, but just listening to this, it's like, okay, so how does all of this transition after you not just motherhood, after you actually give birth and then you see your new body as a
Mm,
dancer, as a writer, as a poet, as someone who has to interact with people, as someone who brings a certain attention through any medium that she chooses to use, brings certain attention to herself. And now you say your new book is removing that attention from yourself and putting it on others. Like how is your transition as someone who carried this baby for 9 months and have to bring the baby out and the transition of taking care of this child, that transition, how does it affect your chosen practice?
um, well, for
Did you, did you,
dance,
did you get my question though?
I think so. Let's see if
I'm not
I, so,
saying
so
I'm not saying motherhood.
yeah, okay.
Actually, looking at the actual um, carrying of the baby, and with like the conversation about how the woman's body goes through a certain level of just like yeah, certain level of physical, just physical contortion, physical beating, because it's something to carry a baby
Mhm.
and deliver the baby, and that journey of healing and gaining back um, your body the way you want it. How does that journey affect your chosen practice? Hello, hi. Hi, good afternoon.
Say good afternoon. Just looking for her papers to draw. I think so. The period of pregnancy, it's been a while, man. um, I think I kept going as much as I could.
Oh, nice.
So I even tried to run a dance class. Like I still danced while I was pregnant. So she loves to dance now because they say the child can feel that movement. And now she's always trying to have dance class and be the teacher because I brought her to classes with me where I was teaching.
That's nice.
So carry it on for her. But I don't think I thought too hard about wanting to get my body back. And yeah, I just,
Not
it wasn't,
not shape. Not
okay.
I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about the mental, like that journey. Because before the child, mentally, psychologically, spiritually, and in every level, you were this person.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have this level of responsibility. You didn't have to carry. You didn't have anything. You were just going, right. And
Yes,
now
exactly.
you carry this child. You deliver this child. You're responsible for this child. Then you accept the responsibility, right.
Mm-hmm.
And all of that affects you on all the different levels, and I'm trying to look at how that affects you as a dancer, how that
Mm-hmm.
affects you as a writer and you as a poet, and doesn't necessarily mean negatively. I'm just looking at it like, how did that affect you as a dancer, writer, and poet?
Okay. It definitely comes in now in terms of comes into my content at times. I've written about, I have a video poem called Stretch Marks. So that's like a really straightforward, observation or reflection on something that happens to everyone who has kids, and a lot of people who don't. Um, and lots, I feel like she's taught me a lot. So I write a lot of things just from observing her and just how she moves in the world. And they say children are teachers, right? So yeah, I definitely think she is a teacher, just in being a child and reminding you of, she reminds me of self-confidence, because she'll get up and just wear anything that she thinks is pretty. So she'll want to be like a mermaid, butterfly, princess, but then she'll want to run outside and play in the dirt. Like, she's just herself, and that has been vital to me in the last couple of years of just reminding myself, how to be just me. And she's very sure of things, which has also been a lesson to me, because there's a period where I stopped being sure of a lot of things. And I'll ask her something and she'll just I'll be like, do you want orange or purple? And she'll be like, purple. And to me, I'm like, oh man, the purple doesn't match. Like, you should do orange. And I'll find myself being like, are you sure? And then I caught myself though, and I decided to stop asking, are you sure? Because I feel like that was planting a small seed of doubt in her mind, right? So I realized, I'm like, I just don't do that. Just, if she wants orange, let her be orange. Like, it's not the end of the world. So things like that, it's been a lot of lessons just in simple moments.
That's like amazing parenting. Someone once said that when children come into this world, they're free. They tell you who they are, right? But then you take the child to maybe an eatery, and the child jumps on the table and screams. Your first reaction is to bring the child down and say, "Don't scream," right? So you're programming, right? But then you're taking that free expression from them, right? Your child wants. Yeah, but
I'm not gonna have my child jumping on table.
Yeah,
I will pull mine off the table too.
Yeah, but
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but if we believe that not all your kids will jump on the table, right? So there could be a particular one whose expression is louder than the average child, right? But it's just like the way the system is right now is that when the child comes just from even birth, the cards, the process of treating the child, and then you send them to school. You start programming them. You start telling them, no, you can't do this, you do this, right? You can't dress like this. You can't dress the way you want. You dress the way I want. So you're programming them and you're teaching them, and then they become adults. And sometimes we as adults become very confused, right? Because there's something that we've always wanted, and now we've been forced to believe in this reality that's not really true. So a lot of us have like crisis when we become adults, right? Because you feel like, who am I? So
you have to rediscover yourself because you weren't allowed to be that fully coming up.
I only said this because you said she's teaching you,
Yes. Yeah.
Because not a lot of parents can, but like a lot of parents back then, it was survival, It's just like, no, we are surviving. We're trying to get food on the table, roof over your head. You have to do this, And yes, they had to survive, but then there is a responsibility that comes with parenting that exceeds putting food on the table and a roof over your head. There is the psychological part of parenting, the mental part of parenting, where you have to sit down and listen to the kid and say, what do you want,
Right. Yeah, and at this stage, I think it's really important. And we try to look at her, like her dad and I try to look at her, try to watch her and be like, okay, what is she like? What is she good at? And make notes of, okay, she probably wants to be a fashion designer. We should probably put her in business school, like based on just the stuff that she expresses interest in now, just so that it's not lost, or that it's not, we're trying to take those cues based on what she's showing, because she might forget along the way, or she might get confused, and we can be like, okay, well, this is what you show, this is what we see in you.
Yeah.
But I do think it's important for parents to learn from their kids, or at least talk to them.
Just looking at Abena right now, how do you feel in terms of where you are right now? Not as a mother, not as a daughter, not as a partner, just you, Abena.
Mm. I feel this is another interesting one because, as I kind of had alluded to earlier, this is the most still and at peace that I've felt in a long time. But interestingly enough, yesterday and today, I was feeling really restless.
Hmm.
Just those last couple, which I haven't felt in a long time. And so I'm feeling like it might be time
Move.
take the next step. It could be because we're supposed to go back to Canada in a few days, but we don't know what's happening with our flight. Like, I don't think that's happening, but I'm trying to figure it out. I wonder if it's that, but I feel like it's something is coming or that I'm supposed to do something. Um, so I'm just gonna sit and figure out, try to write after this. It might be journaling or poetry to figure out what that is, so, receive it. But yeah, I'm more ready to receive that because of the last number of months where I felt like at peace. I felt more bold. I've tried some different things. Like I held my first two virtual workshops in the last couple of months, which is,
Yeah.
yeah, a first. And I'm like, okay, let's just do this. Like before I would have been like, how's it going to be? And what's it going to turn out like? And I don't know about
Overthink.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And I was like, well, let's just put it together as best as you can, and you'll learn after the first one. So yeah, I'm feeling ready to collaborate. I'm feeling ready to be out in nature. I definitely need to dance more. That's one thing. I'm ready to go out and just dance more. So if anybody listening has any like dance connections or like groups that I can join or something,
Yeah.
please invite me. And yeah, I feel good. I feel good and at peace, but also like ready for the next thing.
Do you think that that is coming because you have found a new sense of love and stability for a space that is not necessarily your original home? Do you think that could be maybe the scale is moving from Canada to Ghana, and your body is kind of saying, are you are you paying
Am I
attention
sure?
to this?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to let you know. You're gonna have to check in with me in a few days.
I definitely. But
Yeah.
no, but you could still go to Canada and then realize that, oh wow, okay, I guess Ghana is it, right? Because you said you want to still, you want to like finally just remain still, and
Hmm.
it's kind of like if you have found this inner peace and feeling very settled in Accra, then I guess Accra is in love with you. And
I don't know yet. I've been in lockdown for a lot. Like it's funny. I spent most of my time in the house.
yeah,
Uh,
are
but
you are you, are you with family?
I am with family, which is nice. So with my daughter, my sister, her two kids, my mom and dad, two nephews, and a cousin.
Ah, that makes sense. When was the last time you had this for this amount of time?
Like this many people?
No, your dad, your mom, your sister, and yourself.
Oh
One
man,
roof.
I don't know. Like years. Like we've
So
gone together for Christmas and stuff,
yeah,
but
but then it does make sense, right? So it's like you were back in your childhood,
oh
and
yeah, that's what I said. I'm learning. Like a lot has come up because you're face to face with certain things that you have
yeah,
to
and
deal
you're
with.
and and your sister is also a parent, right?
Yeah,
So you're
yeah.
back in your childhood. You're looking at the people who gave you the childhood you guys had, and now your children are right in front of you. Wow, that would be an experience.
It's definitely experience. Yeah, that's why I feel like I could write a whole like book or something from this period alone.
Yeah, That's nice.
Yeah.
That's
So
nice.
maybe it's time to write again because I've accumulated enough.
Yeah, maybe this will be the third book.
Yeah.
So just to do like a full circle, your new book, what's it about?
Okay, so my new book, I changed the title, so I'm trying to remember the new one. Oh yeah, it's called right now it's called Ode to the Unpraised. It was called Women I Know at first. So I think it's called Ode to the Unpraised, Stories and Songs or Stories from Women I Know. You'll see it soon. And it is about just that. So the background of it is that years ago when I was here, about maybe 6 or 7 years ago now, I think 7 years ago, I was here working with Canada World Youth, and I had wanted to interview my grandmother, my mom's mother, just because, we had always been an ocean apart, and I just really wanted to know her. She didn't speak English. I don't speak Cree that well, so our communication was limited, but I still was like, I'm gonna sit down and ask her all the things that I want to know about her. And so before I got a chance to do that, she had a stroke and she passed away. And I was devastated because I was in Ghana at the time, and that was the trip that I had planned to do that. So long story short, I decided, well, I'm still gonna talk to people that are still living. I'm still gonna talk to relatives that I can talk to and learn from them. And then that expanded to other family friends, because I'm like, well, they're really cool too. And it's amazing that I know these people. And then it extended to people who were not just elders, people who were younger. So that's why it's just called generally Ode to the Unpraised, because I intentionally selected people who didn't necessarily have like positions and titles and status, because my grandma, was a wife and a mother, and she didn't have like position. She didn't go to school for long, but she was filled with a lot of knowledge, of experience, of insight. And so I wanted to talk to those people in my life.
Yeah,
So that's what it's about.
yeah.
I turned some of their words into poems, prose poems, and then I wrote some other poems to kind of converse with what those women said.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's what I'm doing with my platform. That's what I'm doing with my platform. Documenting and archiving, building a collection of just Black people, Africans, and those within the various intersections. And because I
Nice.
feel like when you start looking back into our history, a lot of the times what you see, the references are very successful people, kings, warriors, queens, princesses, and princes. And you just see all of this, wealthy people, but you don't see the day-to-day man and woman, you know?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's really interesting. I look forward to that very, very
Thank you.
much. All right. So my final question for you, right? Um, what can you point out? What can you hold tangible that you can say for sure has been passed on from three generations? So from your mother to
Oh,
you
geez.
to your
You can't
daughter.
give me an easy question to end with.
Oh, I have another final question. Sorry.
Okay, so what has been passed on? Man, I feel like I need to. This has to be like take home exam, and I think about it. I'm gonna say, well, I don't know. I was gonna say like fashion and stuff. Feel like it skipped a generation because my mom is really into fashion and my daughter is, but maybe I don't know. A love for, I'm going to say love for conversing and connecting with people. My mom is a really social person. People love her. Uh, yeah, people love her. People feel her absence. Like when she's in Ghana and I'm in Antigonish, people are like, when's your mom coming home? For me, I'm not as outgoing as her, but I still love connecting. Like I love one-on-ones with people
Yeah.
and conversations and close connections. And my daughter is somebody who just likes talking to people. Like she will talk to everyone in the house equally, you know, with no bias or no, and she seems to love everyone. And I think that's beautiful. So I think just connection with people.
I can see that she's talking to me, even though she's not using words. So, so like final question. Love
Okay.
and duty. Love and duty.
You want me to speak on it?
Like, speak on it, choose, redefine, restructure, whatever you want to do with it. Love and duty.
Well, I was thinking earlier, I was thinking earlier about the word duty and about my work, and I would just realize that I feel like it's my duty to be an artist in the family, because I was trying to think of who else is an artist in the family, and I've only just recently met one other person who lives in Ghana who's an artist. I never knew of her before. And I just feel like it's my duty to be an artist and do what I love.
Yeah.
So there's the connection there, because that's where the elders, ancestors brought me. Like they did all this, like you mentioned, survival work. And now I don't, like, I have to elevate to another plane. So it's my duty to do what I do to the fullest.
It's your duty to do what you love. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah. So you now you can ask me any question you want to ask me.
Oh, I wish I thought of really complicated ones for you.
Oh,
But I didn't.
I'm very honest and transparent. So I don't really see questions as complicated. Like you can ask me anything.
I'm gonna start with a simple one. Where did you get your rings? Because I just ordered some online.
Oh, okay. So I love rings, and I anywhere I go I pick. So this one I got in Kenya,
Nice.
and this ones I got here in Accra. No, I got these ones from. So I'm a curator and programmer for Asabaku. It's a festival in Buswa.
You
And
are?
yes, yes,
Oh, I heard about that just when I came. We gotta talk more after
yeah, yeah.
this.
And I got a few of this from one of the guys who came to sell jewelries at the festival.
Okay.
I have a few of this, so
Okay.
because uh, like I'm a lion, and that's one of the symbols I go with, and yeah. So I love rings. I love rings. I love beads. I love jewelries. But I wear them just in my own way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So tell me what you mean when you say you're a lion. Like aside from the obvious mean.
So um, I don't really. I'm not really a zodiac sign person,
Mm-hmm.
right? Right from when I was a kid, I just loved that animal, the lion, and it has a very um, it has a very soft spot in me, and people always tend to present the lion as a very wild animal, you know. But when I see the lion, just since I was a kid, when I see the lion, I just see a very beautiful creature, right? And when I realized that the world saw the lion from a very vicious, wild perspective, it started changing the way I see things, right? So I didn't see it like that, but I've always loved the lion and just seen it as a very gentle creature. But when I understood that the word they see it as that, I started saying the word, oh, okay. So the way I see the world is the same way people is the same way I see the lion, and the way the world sees the things I see as awkward and different and not true is the same way the world sees the lion, right? So I do not believe in norms. I do not believe in traditions that do not work for me. I do not believe in. I just believe in creating my own path, and I feel like that's that's one of the creatures that helped me rediscover that. And then I found out that I'm a Leo, uh,
Okay.
which is also the symbol, um, also a lion symbol,
Right.
and I also somehow have my grandfather, my paternal grandfather, had also a very strong connection with the lion, and
Okay.
which is an aspect that I'm still trying to uncover because I don't know if it's the lion or the tiger or but within that family he had a
Okay.
very strong connection, and I feel like I have a strong connection with my paternal grandfather that I haven't still completely uncovered. But yeah, it's a journey. It's a beautiful relationship between myself and the lion. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
No further questions.
No further questions. All right.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. You see, it was really nice and comfortable and free flowing.
But
Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed it. I did. Just want to say thank you, and maybe I hope to have a physical conversation with everyone I have had a Zoom conversation with, because I feel
nice.
like there's not another layer to that can be tapped into.
For sure. Thank you so much for having me, for inviting me. And yeah, I hope we can speak in person as well too.
Yeah. All right. Bye bye.
Ciao.
Yeah.